ngayon naman, subukan natin i-derive yung formula natin para sa mga derivative or derivatives ng tangent function. So kanina we have the formula, no? The derivative daw ng isang sin x equal yan sa cosine, right? Cosine of x. And yung derivative naman ng cosine of x equal yan sa negative sine of x, right? So, yeah. Now, let's try to find what if yung ating function, no, is equal to tangent x. Okay. Where to find the derivative ng tangent x. Tan x or tangent x, question mark sa atin yan. Okay. So what we know about tangent function is that it is the ratio, no? Ratio ng sine at saka cosine. Yan sa trigonometry ninyo, yan yung ating relationship ng tangent. Okay? So we have, since tangent x is equal to sine of x over cosine of x, we will use this expression to replace in tangent x, no? So therefore, yung derivative with respect to x ng tangent of x equal din yan sa derivative with respect to x ng sine x over cosine x. And actually, we know na ang derivative ng sine x ay cosine x at ang derivative ng cosine x ay negative sine x. So in this case, ang pag-solve natin ito is using the quotient rule, no? So ang quotient rule natin, sabi, equal na yan sa denominator, which is yung ating cosine x, times the derivative ng ating numerator, which is yung sine x, derivative ng sine x, minus the numerator, sine x times the derivative ng denominator times the derivative of numerator minus the numerator times the derivative of the denominator, cosine x, all over the square of the denominator. So cosine x quantity square. Okay, so ganyan siya, no? So dito na tayo sa taas. Yan. So in this case, sagutan natin yung mga derivatives. Okay? So the derivative ng tangent x equal daw yan sa cosine x, right? So ang derivative ng sine x ay cosine x. So cosine times cosine x pala to. Right? Minus sine x times the derivative ng cosine x, which is negative sine x. Okay, so sinasagutan ko lang muna yung derivative, ha? Divided by cosine squared x. So, simplify pa natin itong mga to. We now have, ito magiging cosine squared ito, squared x, plus, so ito magiging plus na siya, no? Dahil negative. Baan natin ito. So, plus, sine squared ng x. So, dalawa yung sine divided by cosine squared ng x. So, in this case, ang derivative ng tangent, no, ay equal dito. So, ang identity lang natin dito, may nakikita ko identity na magagamit para mas masagutan pa natin yan. Cosine squared x plus sine squared ng x equal to sa 1. Okay? So, gagamitin natin itong value ng 1 dito. Okay? So, therefore, yung ating derivative ng tangent x it is now equal to 1 over cosine squared ng x. And also, ang derivative or ang relationship naman ng 1 over cosine squared x, no? Another identity, uh, 1 over cosine ng x equal yan sa secant x. Okay? So, papalitan pala natin ito. Therefore, yung dalawang cosine, no? Pag dalawa na siya, dahil squared to, so dalawang secant din. Therefore, yung ating derivative with respect to x ng tangent function equal yan sa secant squared of x. Okay? So marami na tayong dapat tandaan pala. No? Let's try to solve an example on this one. No? Para mas ma-appreciate niyo yung tangent. Okay? So, tandaan natin yung formula natin, no? The derivative of tangent x is equal to secant squared x. Okay? So, let's try to solve this one. Let's say we have g of x equal to sine of x divided by tangent of x. And then, we want to solve the g prime of x. So, ibig sabihin ng g prime of x, yan yung ating derivative. Okay? So, we can solve this problem in two ways. No? First is to use the quotient rule for this numerator and denominator, and the next one is to use yung mga trigonometric identities. Subukan natin parehas. Okay? So, if we are going to use the quotient rule, yung ating g prime of x is the denominator, which is tangent of x, times the derivative ng numerator, sine of x, minus the numerator, sine of x, times the derivative of the denominator. Okay? Tangent of x. All over the square of the denominator, which is tangent square ng x. Yan. So, kung meron na tayo niyan, simplify natin yung sagutan natin yung mga derivatives, no? So we now have g prime of x equal to tangent of x times the derivative. Ano yung derivative ng sine x? Cosine of x, right? Minus sine x times the derivative of tangent x, which is equal to secant squared x, right? Divided by all over tangent squared ng x. Yan. So, we will try to simplify itong ating equation dito. No? So, dito sa taas, the g prime of x, so yung isang tangent mawala, no? We now have cosine x na lang dyan divided by tangent of x. Minus dito naman, sine of x secant squared x divided by the tangent squared ng x. Now, for this one, we will use the identity, no? Ang identity natin na nakikita ko dito is that we have tangent x equal to sine x the sine x over cosine ng x. And that yung secant squared ng x equal yan sa 1 over cosine squared ng x. And yung ating tangent squared, right? Equal naman yan sa sine squared over cosine squared ng x. Okay? So, yan. Subukan natin palitan ito. Itong mga identity natin na to. Okay? So, actually, pwede naman dito pa lang magpalit na tayo, no? Subukan natin. So, maraming ways para masagatan ito. So, dito tayo mag-start, no? So, in this case, yung ating g prime of x, palitan natin yung tangent ng sine x, right? Cosine x times cosine x, right? Minus yung ating sine, yan, sine x secant squared of x all over tangent ng squared ng x. So, magka-cancel yung cosine dyan, no? Kung mapapansin niyo mawawala yung cosine. Therefore, ang matitira na sa atin sa numerator is yung sine x minus sine x times secant squared ng x all over tangent squared ng x. And kung mapapansin natin, itong sine x pwede nating i-factor out. No? Therefore, yung ating g prime of x will become 1 minus, factor out natin yung sine x. Sine x, factor out natin, ang naiwan na lang dito sa numerator is quantity 1 minus secant squared ng x all over the tangent squared ng x. Okay? Now, ang identity ulit natin na nakikita dito is that identity yung ating minus secant squared x equal yan sa negative tangent of x. No? So, saan galing yan? So, yung 1 plus tangent x, tangent squared ng x equal sa secant squared. So, ganun din to. So, now, yung ating g prime of x will now become equal to sine of x times negative tangent squared ng x. So, pinalitan lang natin ang identity, no? All over tangent squared ng x. And actually, this will become equal to negative sine ng x. So, pinakasagot pala natin dyan actually is negative sine of x. In fact, tama itong negative sine of x kasi doon pa lang sa simula, pwede na natin siyang i-simplify, no? Pag i-simplify natin yan, napakaganda kung sa simula pa lang ma-simplify nyo na yung ating expression or yung ating function. So, yung ating g of x kasi, equal yan sa sine of x divided by tangent of x, which in fact, it is equal to sine of x over, itong tangent of x, equal yan sa sine of x over cosine of x. So, in this case, mag-cancel yung dalawang sine of x, matitira yung cosine of x. So, parang pinahanap pala sa atin ay yung derivative ng cosine of x, which is negative sine of x. Okay? So, with that, yun yung ating tangent, no? Derivative of a tangent function. Now, let's go on to the derivatives ng other trigonometric functions. Pero bago yan, sulat ko lang muna dito yung derivative. Yung derivative with respect to x ng sine x equal yan sa cosine of x. At yung derivative with respect to x ng cosine of x, it is equal to negative sine of x. And yung last natin sinolve, yung derivative with respect to x ng tangent x equal yan sa secant squared of x. Right? So, yan yung ating first three uh, derivatives ng mga trigonometric functions. So ito naman pangatlo, pang-apat, pang-lima, tsaka pang-anim, uh, the derivative of with respect to x naman ng secant, no? Secant quantity, secant x equal yan sa um, secant x times the tangent x. Okay? Okay, so naka-multiply siya. Tapos yung derivative ng cosecant x, okay, cosecant, it is equal to the negative cosecant of x, right, times the cotangent naman of x. Then, yung derivative ng cotangent of x, equal naman yan sa negative cosecant squared of x. So, tatandaan nyo lang tong anim na to. Yan yung mga basic trigonometric functions na dapat nating maalala every time na magsasolve tayo ng mga trigonometric functions. No? So let's try to solve. To wrap it up, let's try to solve these examples. Okay. Ano ba maganda? So let's say we have h of x, a function equal to cosine of x times the cosecant of x. So, papahanap sa atin dyan yung derivative ng function na yan, question mark. So, dito ang gagamitin natin, so sample lang to ha. So, product rule, no? Product rule natin is that yung derivative ng function na yan, it is equal to the first function, cosine x, times the derivative ng second function, cosecant x, plus the second function, cosecant of x, times the derivative ng ating first function, cosine ng x. Okay? So, sagutan natin yung mga derivatives. Okay, we have cosine of x times the derivative ng cosecant. Ang derivative ng cosecant ay negative cosecant x times cotangent ng x. Okay? Yan yung ating formula. Plus the cosecant x times the derivative ng cosine, which is negative sine of x. Right? So, simplify pa natin ito. Ang cotangent ng x, ang cosecant ng x ay actually equal yan sa 1 over sine. Right? So, ang 1 over sine, ito naman ay cosine over sine. So, magiging yung ating h of x, h prime of x, or yung ating first derivative, equal yan sa okay. Ang cosine ng x multiplied to negative, ang cosecant ay 1 over sine ng x. Right? Tapos, multiplied pa natin yan sa cotangent, which is cosine x over sine. of x. And also, yung ating plus to, no, plus, ang cosecant x ay 1 over sine ng x times the negative sine of x. So, simplify pa natin, ang h prime of x will now become equal to negative cosine squared x. So, ito nagsama-sama na yung numerator divided by the sine squared ng x. Plus or minus, no? Minus sine x, ano ba? Yeah. Sine x divided by sine x ay negative 1. So, lumalabas na yung ating, pag simplify pa natin ito, this will now become equal to negative cotangent of x squared minus 1. And yung identity natin na cotangent squared x plus 1 equal yan sa uh, negative cosecant squared ng x. Okay? So, ganun lang siya. No? Uh, in fact, yung ating equation, pag simplify muna natin yan sa unahan, uh, equal yan sa cosine ng x times 1 over sine ng x, which is equal to cotangent of x. And yung cotangent ng x, yung kanyang derivative, equal yan sa negative cosecant squared ng x. Okay? So, with that, sana meron kayo natutunan dito sa lesson natin ng derivatives of trigonometric functions. In summary, we solve or we derive for the derivative ng sine function, cosine function, tangent function, and then yung tatlo na other trigonometric functions such as yung cosecant, secant function, and then cotangent function. So tatandaan nyo lang yan along with the formulas ng derivatives ng mga polynomial functions. No? And then yung next lesson natin will be the chain rule. Ngayon, pahirap ng pahirap itong pagsosolve natin ng mga differential calculus, no? So, kaya kailangan meron kayong notes ng mga formulas and mas maganda kung ma-memorize niyo sila para sa paggamit nyo rin sa mga future problems sa calculus. Okay? Maraming salamat at have a nice day. Keep safe everyone. Thank you.